love it. I don't know if it sounds exactly right, but we'll get there.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to Penny's 2 Cents with Penny and Tasha. And we wanted to revisit a couple of things that we had talked about previously, but I think this is probably much more relevant.
Yeah, well, we got questions.
Yes,
People
yes.
asking questions.
And one of the things that we did have people ask us was, well, what types of questions can I answer during the interview, or what kind of questions are not allowed in the interview?
Yeah, what can an employer ask me or what
Right.
can't ask me?
So we did come up with a list of things that employers straight out cannot ask you. They're unacceptable questions.
Yes.
And we'll just start with one because they're not in any particular order, but they're all unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So an employer can say to you, so Tasha, tell me, what religion are you?
Right. Religion is out. Cannot ask you that.
That'd be a no.
Yes.
But if the associate being interviewed says, well, I go to church at Latter-day Saints, then
You've opened the door, and they can ask further probing questions to find
Right.
out more things. And remember, this is an interview, so you're not there to give the employer your whole life story,
right.
or give him fodder to dismiss you and not hire you. You want to make sure that you're there to give yourself an opportunity to get a job.
Right. But the employer cannot right out say to you, so tell me, what do you believe in God? What is your religion? That's a taboo question. That shouldn't happen at the interview.
Right. And
Okay.
and of course they'll look at you sometimes and they see that you're an older person. They can't ask, how old are you?
Right.
Or if you look really young, they can't ask how old you are, but they can ask if you are eligible for working, because there are some laws, child labor laws, that they have to follow.
Right. So if somebody says to you, another way employers try to get around this is they say, so what year did you graduate college?
Yes, yes,
Or what year did you graduate high school? Because they're
Yes.
trying to assess your age.
yes. And that's a good thing too, because if you have a higher degree, or if you've graduated from high school, just put on your resume, graduated from high school. You don't have to put down the year.
Okay, so you don't have to put down the year, but when you graduate from college, you need to put down the year?
Not on a resume.
Okay, okay.
On a resume, you just have to say what you,
Oh, okay, got it.
where you
Yes.
were, what city or state it's in,
Okay,
what college you went to, university you went
right,
to,
okay,
and then your major.
okay, perfect. That's exactly right. So we've done religion, age, marital status.
Marital. Are you married? Are you divorced? I mean, of course, if you're going to wear your ring, that might mean something. But some people wear rings on any of their fingers, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but
So
somebody
you don't have to give that out.
Yeah, somebody can't say to you, "Are you married? Do you have kids?"
Yeah.
Two things.
Yeah.
Those are not things they can ask you. But what you said earlier, when an employer says,
Tell me about yourself.
"Tell me about yourself," and you end up saying things like, "Well, I'm married."
Yeah. I've been married for 12 years. I've got 3 little kids.
Yes.
Under the age of 12. Of course, it's like they're going to ask you now. Well, actually, you might just give up that information that you're busy, that they take up your time, that you're getting a job because you want to make sure that they have this, or that. So you want to make sure you don't give them more information than they need. If they ask you, tell them about yourself, then tell them something about yourself that's related to the job.
Yeah, because what they're not hopefully, but what they could be assessing is, do you need daycare? Is daycare going to be a problem? Are you not going to be able to get to work?
Will you leave work early for
You leave
whatever
work-
reasons?
Right. So, you've got to be cognizant of the things you're telling the employer about yourself. Because as Tasha said, when they want you to talk about yourself in a business sense.
In a business sense,
You
yeah.
don't want to open the door for the personal side.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that after I get the job that I can't take care of my family.
Right, exactly. Because during the interview, the question might come up is, within the next 3 months, is there anything that will prevent you from coming to work? Is there something you have planned? And that would be the time to say, maybe you have a student-parent appointment in 3 weeks at 2:00 in the afternoon. I mean, you really do need to disclose that because there's nothing worse than 2 days before you go to your
Yeah.
employer and you say, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
I have this appointment, and you knew about it when you interviewed and you didn't say anything.
And you don't have to say it's a parent teacher conference. You could say I have an engagement or an appointment that I can't get out of,
Right, right. But you should disclose that in the interview
immediately.
if the question's
Or I
asked.
have a vacation planned
Right, right,
and the tickets already bought.
right.
You've
So-
got to tell them.
Yeah, you've got to disclose it during the interview, but don't tell them, 6 weeks later, oh, by the way, I forgot. That's never a good practice. Political views. When
Yes.
somebody says, well, who'd you vote for president? It's really nobody's business.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when we were kids, Tasha, nobody ever discussed political affiliation. I mean, not in my...
I was going to say mine did, but then I think everybody back then it was
Well, I think
friendly.
It was more, but it was more in family. I never would say to somebody, "So, who'd you vote for?"
Yeah,
I mean, never asked that question. It seemed like it was a taboo subject because
Yeah.
it's none of my business who you voted for,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
So,
I mean, and things that an employer can ask, though, they can ask you about your education, and they can ask you about criminal history, right? They can ask you about.
well, they can't ask you directly about criminal history, but they can say something like, "Is there anything that would keep you from working here? We do drug tests and criminal background checks."
So that's when you would say, I do have a history of, and then whatever, but don't give out keep it short. Don't give out your whole life history. I was falsely accused and this happened and that happened. Just say, I do have a criminal history. I was, arrested for thus and such, and whatever the outcome.
Yeah, and you do have to be forthcoming with that because you don't want to get to the point where they offer you the job
Yes.
and then they're going to do the background check. You know what they're going to find, and everybody's time is wasted. But
Because if they find out that you have a history of something that they can't accept, then they can fire you immediately.
so that brings us up to a point, and this is so you need to be forthcoming even if the question's not asked. You do need to be forthcoming on that because you want to be respectful of the interview process, right? Well, this was a lot,
It was.
but these are questions that should not happen during the interview. Although if you converse so much that you open up the door, then the employer will hear what you're saying and then
Yes.
question you. But
So that, the biggest thing is, remember, you're interviewing to get a job. At that point, you're not interviewing to make friends or to be friendly. You're there to be it's not friendly that the word I'm looking at.
you're a professional,
But professionally accepting.
right? Right. right.
That you're there,
exactly.
you're open, and you're
Okay.
willing to get whatever you need to get.
All right,
right?
great. So I think that's it.
Okay, well, we'll look at some other questions.
Okay,
But
yeah.
please make your comments. If there's something we haven't done, like us and subscribe if you can. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks. Out.